it's time for another kebab podcast.
A loose translation of that is it's time for another Co-Filers podcast.
Yeah, that's the one. How are you?
Pretty good. Been watching some TV.
No way.
I know, it would suck if I hadn't, really, wouldn't it?
We'd have a lot less to talk about, to be fair.
Yes,
What are we
true.
doing this week then?
Well, we're talking about TV shows that are loosely based around tattoos. Because
Oh yeah.
why not?
Because tattoos are awesome, kids. You should all go and get them. Oh, I'm so sorry. Ooh.
Interesting. I think it was actually Prison Break that made me more interested in tattoos.
Was it specifically you wanted to get the blueprints of buildings you'd find yourself trapped in, and then need to escape from?
Not specifically for that reason. Because I don't plan on going to prison. Or getting trapped in any kind of building. Ideally.
But, yeah. That's true. Right, go on then. Prison Break. What's he all about?
Well, it's Michael Schofield, his brother. What's his name?
Come on, you know his
I know his name. Lincoln Burrows
Yes.
is in prison on death row for doing a murder. Or not doing a murder. But he's been framed for doing a murder. And so he's on death row. So his brother, who's pretty smart and an architect, I'm not pretty sure he is actually an architect.
Structural engineer.
Yep. And he decides to, so it opens with him getting the tattoo. And then, just cleaning out his apartment of all, his plans and stuff. And
He's got a detective board on his window, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it's got, all these, the various people who are in Fox River. And then he goes and he robs a bank. Well, sort of doesn't rob a bank. And just sort of goes, I would like to go to prison, please. And then they put him in prison. For, not really... Oh, I mean, he shot the roof. But apart from that, he didn't really do anything.
Discharged a weapon which led the judge to say, well, I think there's malice involved in this, so you're going to prison, mate. And he's like, oh no, but secretly he's like, yes.
Well, yeah, because he's put in a request to go to Fox River. He's just like, could I go there? Now, I mean, I don't know how going to prison works, but I'm pretty sure you don't get to request where you go.
No, I don't think so. But I think she says something like, because you've been a good boy all your life, we don't mind if you say, oh, I'd really like to stay close to where I live if that's alright. It's kind of a bit, that's convenient.
Yeah, it is convenient, but otherwise the whole premise of the show would be a bit off, wouldn't it? It'd be like, well, I've got these tattoos of Fox River, and I'm not there. So what am I meant to do here?
That'd be a short show, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just just going, no, you're going San Quentin, mate. And then he's just like, oh, I guess I'll see you in 5 years.
Also, something that I found was a bit on the legal side of things that was a little bit iffy is the fact that he says to his brother, he's like, oh mate, it's like, his brother says it's gonna be, I'm paraphrasing, he's like, it's gonna be well hard to get out of it, and he's like, nah, don't worry mate, I designed this place. And I was like, hang on a minute, they'd fucking realise that this is the chap who designed the entire prison. And they think, is it a good idea that we send him? Is there not a conflict of interest?
Well, wasn't it subcontracted to his company?
Oh, is that what it was? I sort of, whenever I do this weird thing when I'm watching something. Whenever there's business talk, I completely zone out and I just don't listen to it. I don't know why. I just don't get. I can't ever get my head.
Yeah, because otherwise, you've got a point. They'd sort of be like, weren't you involved in I don't know, designing a bit of this? So maybe that's not a good idea. But No, I'm pretty sure they mentioned at some point that it was subcontracted to his firm and he helped design it, or someone was lazy and he just did it.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. What I like about like just the setup is that it's just like this sort of ridiculous premise that would, because can you imagine trying to pitch this to someone and just being like, well, what it is a guy goes to prison to break out. So if you went with that as like your initial, like the opening line, you'd be like, why? What? And then like, but it needed his brother's already in prison. Otherwise, this just doesn't make sense. And I'm pretty sure, so I was reading about it, and I think initially the writers did just want to do that. It's be like, oh, there's a guy who just wants to like break out of prison. It's just like,
What, just for?
yeah, it's just like, and they were just like, sort of needs a reason to do that, and they were just like, oh, what if his brother's in there? I'm like, okay, yeah, cool.
I think while I was watching it, the pilot at least anyway, it's, well, I suppose it's difficult nowadays, but if you depict a prison on film, it's really difficult to not invoke Shawshank Redemption. And there's so many similarities, like the thing is, okay, the head of the prison, the warden, so he says, right, we're gonna put you in solitary. He's like, well, I could help you make your model of the Taj Mahal a bit. And it's like when Andy offers to do all the accounts for all the prison staff, and then well, there was something else. They call him Fish because he's new, like the whole fresh fish thing.
Yeah.
There was something else. There was something that was really obviously that's from Shawshank. I can't
Was it
remember what
what's his face? Who was like the old guy sitting on the bench,
yeah, that was
and like
another
the
one,
new
but
the new guy
there
just
is-
goes to talk to him and just like wants to be friends.
Yeah. What is? There is something else that I was like, that is a direct rip off. But that, like, the whole point of he goes into prison and believes himself to be more intelligent than everyone else there, and has a long-term, well, it's not a long-term plan, but he has a plan to get out before he's even gone in, and he's put things in place before he's even gone into the prison, like Andy Dufresne done.
Yeah, I think like it's a very similar premise because like it's not, like you say, it's quite it would be a difficult thing to do to sort of not acknowledge Shawshank in going into something like this. But I think rather than rip it off, they've made sort of reference to it and then sort of gone their own way with some of the other stuff. Because I haven't watched Shawshank in so long that I can't. There's a lot of it I just can't remember.
It'll probably be on ITV2. If you went and looked now, it would probably be on ITV2 because it's on ITV2 all the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, there are quite a lot of. I think it starts to go its own way. Sort of later in the series, I think it starts to, because he slowly starts to realise that there's more to breaking out of prison than just like his plan, and that he's sort of gonna have to take people along with him to make sure that it goes right. I think there are some people later in the series who just uncover the escape plan and they're just like, I'm coming with you or I'm gonna tell on you.
Oh man, the escalation of that could be quite fun. Obviously, you've seen all of it, is it?
Yeah.
You've seen all of it? I haven't seen any of it apart from the pilot.
Yeah, it does get more interesting than just like, because obviously like a pilot is purely for the sort of will this work, and then
Yeah.
so there are a lot of characters that aren't introduced in the pilot. Like it just introduces like some of the core important characters to like getting the plan going. I quite like the origami stuff that he like drops into like drains and stuff to make sure that they to make sure it connects. I think is why he does
Is
it.
that what he was doing? Okay, well, I was starting to think that he's gradually just going to block that drain for some reason, and that's part of his plan.
No, I think it was
Because he puts
to make
the
sure that
magazine down, doesn't
the pipes that he's planning to use are connected. So like that the infirmary is connected out into the yard.
he? Right. Okay.
So that he sort of,
And
because
that
he's
makes a lot
looked
more
at the
sense.
plans, but I guess he needs to make sure there's nothing in their way.
Blocking. Yeah.
But I think the tattoos aren't
Well,
just
there's-
a plan of the prison. They're his whole escape plan is in those tattoos.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
even after
I-
season 1, there's still tattoo references. I think it's only for the first couple of seasons. Then after that, it's just like a shit. I ran out of time, and also some things have happened.
I thought in my mind it would just be like when he takes his shirt off and shows the tattoo. I thought it literally was just going to be blueprints, but there's a design sort of on top of it that masks it that was really quite clever. I wasn't expecting that to be
Yeah,
honest.
and
The
obviously,
whole way
like,
through
and
I was
there are
thinking, but he just looks like he's wearing blueprints, so someone's gonna see.
and there were like more layers to it. So some of the overlapping stuff, in like the geometric designs and things, overlap and are a different part of the plan, but it masks quite well the fact that it's pretty much just blueprints.
I did like that design, but then I was thinking it got me to wondering how they do sort of special effects, like fake tattoos. Like I've seen somewhere you can get like a sleeve that you just roll on your arm.
I think these are more
And-
transfers than. So you know the like the stencil they put on. I think it's something like that, but a more sort of permanent thing, like almost like semi-permanent makeup, I guess. That would have been the ideal way to do it, because that's pretty much just a tattoo that lasts for like 6 months.
I wonder if he did do that, because that would have been, you know, if he had to go around right, you're doing this show, you've got to wear this massive thing.
Yeah, I've never actually done any research into how they did that.
I'm just having a look. Visual effect. Well, of course, there's the sort of a CGI element, isn't there, to show like, oh look, it's a picture of like a church scene, and there's a skeleton with a crown or whatever it is. But he says, look closer, and it transforms, and you can see sort of the prison buildings and.
Yeah. I don't know if they do it in the pilot, but I'm pretty sure at some point they almost like zoom out with a tattoo and then overlay it over the prison to show like where the blueprint, or small parts of the blueprints to show that tattoo is this part, sort of thing. Which is pretty cool. It's like a pretty, because considering this is like what, like 11 years ago. Like that
Yes.
level of CGI is almost impressive, apart from that Lord of the Rings came out before this. But like for a TV show, that level of special effects would be quite
Well,
pricey.
compare it to Doctor Who that came back in 2005, same year.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was several separate transfers, apparently. So it was all just stickers.
Yeah, that would have had to been done every day, or only the bits that you would be able to see. Because I'm betting he wouldn't have to have like the full upper half, because he wears long sleeves a lot in the show.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be you know, it saves a lot of time. if
Yeah,
he's just
so
wearing
it's
long
just
sleeves.
it's as and when they're needed, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after the tattoos, there's like the whole out of the prison story with like Lincoln's kids and the lawyer and the Secret Service plot to make sure Lincoln Burrows gets killed for this murder.
I gotta be honest. I didn't really give a shit about any of that.
I think
I was
I
only
don't-
really concerned with the whole prison breakdown, because I thought if you want to do a show that's about prison, you should confine it to the prison to make it feel as though you're confined in the prison.
yeah, I think like the purpose of the Secret Service thing is to make it so that it's not, so it doesn't, so that you know as a viewer that it's a setup, not like Lincoln says he didn't do it, so he didn't do it. I think it's to show that, like, and also I think it's to show, like, the stuff with his kid is to show that, like, life goes on while you're in prison, and, like, stuff continues to happen to your family, like they get busted for dealing because the kid's a fucking moron.
Yeah. I wasn't convinced, to be honest. That whole father-son sequence, I just didn't believe any of it. What I think I'm deciding is I really don't like Lincoln. I don't know why. I'm just not gelling with him at all. It just seems to be a bit of a... I don't know. I don't know if it's the character or if it's just the performance of it.
I think he's almost... I think he, as a character, has resigned himself to the fact that he's going to be executed. I think his character comes more alive once they're getting more and more into the actual prison break, rather than when it's just his initial thing.
I'm assuming they do break out, because otherwise it's, you know.
Otherwise it's 4 seasons of still in prison. No,
Really
it's the whole it's 4 seasons and it's coming back.
How does it flow then? Does it
each season
really tail off? Or?
Each season is a different. Like season 1, they're in the prison. Season 2, they've escaped. Season 3, they're in a different prison. Not part of the plan. Okay. And then season 4 is like the final bit of escape. So rather than it being like 4 seasons of them escaping from one prison, it's a season is the whole escape, because obviously he's on a deadline. Like I think at the time he goes in, it's like he's got a month,
isn't it?
So then he works quite quickly to get him out, and then he has. I'm pretty sure they go about starting to try and clear Lincoln's charges while also being on the run.
I was just looking up the revival of the series, and I've read a massive spoiler.
I think I know what spoiler you've read.
Yep, it's quite a major one. So that's another one. To be fair, I don't know if I'm going to carry on watching it, so I'm not that fussed. But that's a bit of a bugger. I liked it. I did like it, but it didn't grip me because I said last time we recorded that 24 was the best pilot that I certainly that we've chatted about. With Breaking Bad probably being very close to it, and Lisa and I have since become obsessed with 24. Like, we really, really love it. We've nearly finished the first series. So, but that's the only case of me continuing a show, having spoken about it on this. So I'm just waiting for the next one, and I don't think Prison Break's it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean it's like it is good. I think it is slow to get going, and the pilot doesn't really. The pilot for this is more of a. It almost feels like we're going to make more of this. So it doesn't feel like they haven't sort of got into the. Like they've set up a couple of like the major characters, like the Doctor, Tancredi, like the Warden, and some like the what's his face, the cellmate, and like those characters they've set up.
Oh, he was cool. I liked him, like the guy who proposed to his girlfriend via a letter.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
He's a really good character. I really liked him. Was it
Fernando Sucre?
Yeah.
Which means Andrew Sugar.
Interesting fact. Yeah, so they've set up like those characters, and I think throughout the show you get to learn more about like their backstory as well. And there's some flashbacks and stuff to like things that have happened in the past, which is cool. I'm not adverse to a show having flashbacks because that's pretty much the entirety of Arrow. It's just
Yeah.
where you've got two stories running in parallel.
I I've noticed, it's, we've done. This is the 8th episode, so we've done 16 pilots.
Yep.
I'm starting to realise there is a bit of a formula to them. So like you have the initial sort of, this is the conceit of the show. Here's your main character, and it sets them up for most of it, and then puts them into the situation which drives the conceit of the whole show. So for this, okay, now he's in prison, but then about 2/3 of the way through, there'll be something thrown in that's like, oh, don't worry, there's a wider story, there's a larger story arc going on here, to try and keep people watching, thinking, oh, I wonder what that's going to be then.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it might be more interesting to keep it contained in the prison. Like, I would have been interested to see what that sort of what that would have looked like, and how different. Because you could still have all of these other stories, but just once they break out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been pretty interesting.
But the show actually, it reminds me, there's a French film that came out not that long ago, and what's it called? In 2008, it's called the English title is Anything for Her, but French title is Pour Elle, which just means for her, and it's a story of a bloke who they're just having a normal day, and the police just turn up and arrest the woman for murder, sentence her to 20 years in prison, and this chap's like, I've got absolutely no idea what's going on. So he decides, what would it really be like to try and break someone out of prison, and it like explores it in quite a realistic way.
Because there was a Russell Crowe film as well.
The Russell Crowe film was based on Anything for Her. It was an American remake. It was called The Next 3 Days.
Oh yeah, because I've seen that, and that was pretty interesting. I'd say Prison Break is probably better than that American version, because it's interesting to see someone try and like some of the situations that arise through. I'm trying not to spoil it for the listener.
Everyone.
And you, just in case you do decide at some point to watch it.
I don't know, I might.
Yeah, some of the things that arise through it are like obviously not according to plan. And I think he learns it. I don't think it's super early on that he learns it. I think it's like halfway through the first season he learns that maybe he can't do it like exactly according to plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was from there's a lot of characters from this that like turn up in other things that I watch. Like Sarah Tancredi was in Walking Dead.
Oh. Laurie.
Yeah, and
is Sarah Tancredi in the show? Is it?
She's the doctor who gives him insulin.
Yeah.
Because he's decided that he needs access to the medical clinic, infirmary. And
the hospital wing.
Yeah, and diabetes is a pretty good way to get in there on a regular basis.
Yeah, and he fancies it.
And he doesn't have diabetes. So he has to go and get other drugs to counteract the insulin messing with his body.
The bloke that he went to, the local pharmacist, as he put it, I really recognised him.
Yeah.
And I don't know where from, but he
Not sure.
Very familiar. Oh, he was in Sons of Anarchy. That might be where he was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang as well. So I think that's probably where I recognise him from. But he looked very familiar.
Yeah. What's interesting is like when they introduce more characters as well. Like not even like they introduce new characters that come in to the prison, and they're just like sort of just want to like be friends, and he's just like, go away, go away, go away, go away. And it's like, but please, and he's like, fine, we're breaking out of prison. It's just like you're on like the Flash level of like not being good at keeping your identity a secret. It's like you just want to tell people what you're doing. But yeah, interestingly, like Wentworth Miller and Dominic Purcell, after this finished, they'd never been on screen together until they were in the Flash together. And now they're
Who does Dominic Purcell play?
He's Heatwave, who's just a lunatic.
In Prison Break.
Oh, he's Lincoln Burrows. So they play brothers in this and partners in crime in The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow.
I've just realised where I recognise him from. He was in Blade 3.
What?
He was
Dominic Purcell.
Dracula in Blade Trinity. Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching this Legends of Tomorrow thing, because I recently read the New 52, the first trade paperback of the Justice League.
Doesn't that
really good?
Doesn't that have Vandal Savage in it as well? Or am I thinking of a different book?
Don't think so. Arrow's not in it yet. But I think Darkseid turns up as like their first fight. It's really funny though. It's strange.
Yeah, a lot of the DC TV shows are quite light-hearted until like people die and stuff, and they get a bit sad. But whatever.
Yeah. I might, on the strength of this comic, I might give Arrow and Flash another go. I'm not sure yet. Might do. But yeah, as I say, I don't know if I'm going to continue with Prison Break. I did enjoy it, like the 45 minutes, the 40 minutes, however long it is, it just flew by, and I was enjoying it. But I don't know if it gripped me enough. Also, I realised I was about to say something about comment about one of the tattoos, and then realised that was from the other show. That wouldn't have made sense at all.
But yeah, I liked it because the thing. I picked up on like normal TV first, and watched a lot of season 1 and maybe 2 when it was actually on like broadcast in the UK, and then it switched channels and I couldn't watch it because you know when pretty much every good show on Channel 4 moved to Sky 1.
Yeah.
This was one of those shows that like it was this, 24 and Lost that all just went.
I didn't know Lost started on Channel 4.
Yeah, Lost was on Channel 4, and all three of them switched at the same time to Sky 1. It was just like, oh great. And then I picked up on Netflix in first year, which is like, oh cool, and just watched the whole thing. So I mean obviously I really liked it.
Yeah. I'm really not sure, but I'll let you know in a couple of weeks if I've gone back to it. But I suspect I might.
I mean, maybe
not.
if you run out of other things to watch.
I really won't, because there's fucking 10 series of 24.
Shit. That's a lot.
Shall we shift over to Blindspot?
Yes.
So more tattoos. There's a lot of tattoos going around.
Yeah. Well,
Although
it made
this one you don't
like
see them get.
there's I couldn't think of anything else that either of these shows would work well with, apart from each other, just because of the tattoo link.
Yeah. And the almost mystery genre. Say almost, because Prison Break, the mystery comes from Mike's plan, but Blindspot, it really is a mystery, because it's just like, the fuck is this woman? Yeah, so there's a bag in Times Square that it's discovered holds a woman. She climbs up. That was really creepy, that scene, when the arm just pops out.
Yeah, because they've got like a full like bomb squad and stuff, and it's just like, so what's going on?
Also, something that struck me as odd, right, is that Times Square is one of the brightest places I've ever been to, even at night. Even
it was
more so
really
at night.
dark in the show, though.
Well, no, they brought in a fuck off spotlight. And you don't need to. The screens do all the lighting for you. Anyway, yeah, and there's a woman, and she's been pumped full of this drug, which has wiped her memory. Which generally, amnesia, I don't like as a narrative device. Like, there's a character who in 24 recently just for not much reason got amnesia, and it really pissed me off. That was just fucking weak. But I didn't mind it in this because it was given like there's a
well, otherwise she'd be
quite
able to answer their
believable
questions,
reason.
and it'd be a very short,
Well,
like
there
one
wouldn't be a
episode show.
So I've forgotten. That's it because she's taken to the FBI because there is a
One of the agent's
FBI
name
agent's name
is tattooed
on
on
her
it.
back.
And I was just like, would that not be the weirdest fucking thing? Like, you get
Oh,
called.
yeah, he takes it quite
You
well,
get
doesn't
called
he?
up and just like, oh yeah, this woman, like, she doesn't know who she is. She's got no memories. She's got your name tattooed on her back. He turns up and just like, I have no fucking clue who this woman is. It's just like,
It's really freaky out. Isn't it?
yeah, like I was just like, that was me sort of like, I'm in, and like I want to know. It's not even like I don't care that much about what's going on. I just want to know where the tattoos come from, and like why they are weirdly predicting events that haven't happened yet.
And if someone wanted her to completely forget everything, why have they left her this breadcrumb trail of clues?
Well, the thing is, like, she has at some point a flashback where she remembers asking for the drug, for the amnesia,
Yes, that's right at the end of the first episode.
and it's just like,
And there's
but
some guys like, look, this is really gonna fuck you up. And she's like, I know, it's fine.
yeah, and then it's just like, but what led her to the point that she has all these tattoos and is like, I need to not remember how these got here, but I need to have the tattoos.
Yeah.
And it's just
Also something that occurred to me. In neither show is there an accurate representation of
aftercare.
getting a tattoo or aftercare, because in Prison Break she goes, right, that's done, he gets up and he's waving his arm about. It's like, no, that would be really sore, and he'd have to get cling film on it, he'd have to get moisturizer on it.
Yeah, I feel like that is a bit that they've skipped. Well, they sort of mention it in like later episodes of Blindspot, where they're just like, she's just like, oh, it's a bit sore, and it's just like,
oh no,
because you're not fucking, because that's because you're not fucking moisturising it.
It's gonna fall out if you're not careful. So go on then, hit me with it. What did you think? Because have you watched any more of this?
I've watched the first 3 episodes, and because I had no idea this show existed until around Christmas. My parents had been watching it, and I sat down and I watched like episode like 4 or 5 or something, I don't know, and I was just like, this is interesting, because like even then, like, she has bits of memory, but not enough to like put everything together. It's just kind of like she still like, I think it's going to take like the whole however many seasons they do for her to fully figure out what happened.
Do you think it's going to end up like Lost, and they're just like, I don't know, it just, you know,
it just fucking did. No, I think they'll probably, in the same way as like Prison Break did, it would benefit them to explain her backstory in season 1, but not explain all of their tattoos for like another couple of seasons. But I think maybe this is probably like 3 seasons max before like it gets played out and
it runs out.
Like, yeah, because you couldn't have tattoos that predict every terrorist or murder for like 3 years, because that would be an incredible amount of like skin that she would somehow have to have. But no, I feel like it's interesting enough. The thing, it hasn't, you know, in that way that some shows will grab you and you'll binge and you'll just watch all that's available.
Yeah.
This hasn't quite done that. Because I watched like the first 3 episodes and was like, alright, cool, I'll take a break from that and watch some of the other stuff that we have to watch. And then have been finding myself trying to find time to go back to it.
Yeah.
But just not really.
I kind of feel like the same. Like, I'm not sure. It didn't grip me as much as I thought it was gonna, because I saw the adverts for it around Christmas time, same as you, and I was like, oh shit, this looks quite good. And it's okay. But I've just looked at the Wikipedia page, looking for the summary of the pilot, so I can, think of some talking points that occurred to me, and I've just read a massive fucking spoiler again.
Yeah, I'm trying not to read, like, it's like right at the bottom of my page, so I can't read any further.
Yeah, don't read the cast list, because the cast list gives it away. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I know who she is now. Which is a bit of a shame, but, what else occurs to me? There was something... Oh yeah, do the FBI not have Chinese translators anywhere? Because they're all looking at her Chinese tattoo going, oh look, this is a massive mystery, and then she starts being able to read it, like, oh my god, this is incredible. And I was like, hang on, is that because that's, it's tangible, it's language, it's an alphabet, that has context somewhere. All you need is someone who can read it.
Or Google Translate will give you a gist of what it means. Because it just ends up being an address, doesn't it?
Yes, that's it. And I was like, oh, fuck it, well done. That was hard, wasn't it? And another thing really wound me up. I really don't like Special Agent Kurt Weller. I think he's a bit of a dickhead.
I'm not really sure what his point is.
No. But she proves herself as fairly capable of looking after herself throughout the episode. And every time they go somewhere new, he's like, nah, you stay in the car. This is going to be dangerous. And she's like, mate, this is about me.
And then she doesn't stay in the car and solves some mystery.
Yeah. But then even at the end of the episode, he's like, yeah, that was all, we got a little bit further, we got a bit of progress. And then he goes to the directors like, yeah, I don't want her doing what she did. Like,
I think eventually that goes away, because I think in the next couple of episodes that I've seen, they start trying to work out who she is, and it might have been someone that he knew when he was younger, and that's why his name's there.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise it's just like, you've just picked a guy at random, and just, like, because you think... I want to know if she has all these tattoos to help the FBI, or if it's to help the bad guys remember all the things, like a to-do list for the bad guys. Like, if that was the original point of them. Because what better way to write a to-do list than to tattoo random bits of information onto someone's body? So it's all... I feel like it could be something like... Because obviously she was an ex-Navy SEAL, and that tattoo's been covered up because that bit of information was super helpful. It's like, oh, she's an old Navy SEAL. That's why she can, like, kick 10 pages of shit out of someone. But so she could have been and found out, like, about this massive organisation, probably an inside job, because otherwise what's the point in them covering it up? So she's found out, it could be she's found out about all this stuff that's going to happen and be like, I need to tell someone about it, and words aren't my way. So gets all these tattoos of, like, things that will happen. Or it's a to-do list for some bad guys.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm more interested in the show is finding out where that goes than actually all the adventures they have on the way to finding that out.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's tricky, that one, because I kind of feel like, there's this through line, which is what's getting people watching, but then there's quite a lot of fluff around it.
Yeah, because I feel like she should be
the
primary focus, and, like, her tattoos are the factor that draws us in and makes it not just another crime show. So it should be more focused. Like, I don't really care what Kurt does when he goes home. or where he goes to, or whatever it is that he does there. I'm more interested in seeing like Jane Doe like finding out who she is.
Yeah.
And I've read the spoiler too. Great. Balls.
This is the spoiler cast, where we don't spoil it for anyone, but it gets spoiled for both of us.
Yeah, and it's like I'm more interested to see that journey than anyone else's. Because I feel like it would be more interesting to see someone who's not in the FBI interacting with them in a way that's like, I'm equally as skilled, but I don't know that.
Yeah.
And obviously, one of the main things that brought me to it is I seem to have this habit of like going, I like this actor and actress in like one thing, and I'm just like, it'd be cool to see them do something else. So obviously, Jamie Alexander was in Thor and a couple episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I was just like, it'd be cool to see her not as Sif. And like, I did enjoy her portrayal in this as Jane Doe. I thought it was quite a different character. More heavily tattooed character than Sif.
Well, she was very believable, I thought. Like, there wasn't a weakness in it. I completely bought that she was like, fuck, I've got no idea what's going on, but then be like, hey, I can do like beating up shit.
Yeah.
But after she does that, she's a bit like, oh crap, I had no idea I could do that, and now I've got to deal with the fact that I just beat the crap out of these blokes.
Yeah, it's quite like it was. I think it's just an interesting character. Like, I'm not like the rest of the show is not as interesting as her. Like, her single character is all this show needs. It doesn't really need. The FBI are there to like ferry her around to the next thing they've deciphered from the tattoos. But other than that, I don't care what they do. I don't care when they're upstairs questioning someone, she's downstairs kicking the shit out of someone. That's the bit I want to see. I don't.
Yeah.
I want to see them going, oh, but could you tell us? Please? Please.
I was thinking it would make quite a good game. You know, if you played as her, you said, right, you can look at any number of any one of the tattoos, but you might at one point only know so much information that there's only a few that you could pick and conceivably go, right, well, I know what this is, so we need to go over here, and then you go and you do a bit of digging, discover some more stuff, and that leads you on to, okay, so now you can look at another 2 more tattoos.
What would be cool is if you could then, if
like
you had access to like all of them, and you had to work out which one was next. That would be, it would. It is an interesting premise for a game. I feel like we've identified that. But and then Prison Break has the same thing. Like, it would be.
There was a Prison Break game, wasn't there?
Was there?
You're listening to the sound of 2 people Googling. Yeah, Prison Break: The Conspiracy.
Oh, I wonder how awful this
Action
was.
adventure game based on the first season of the Fox television series Prison Break, released for Microsoft Windows, Xbox 360, and PS3.
42 out of 100, 40 out of 100 on the console versions.
Ooh, IGN gave
An
it
abject
3.5,
failure
OXM
on all
gave it
counts. 2 out of 10.
3. Well, it's a tie-in, isn't it? They're not usually great. That's an interesting question. Is there a decent game that's been made out of TV shows? And that's something we should discuss at some point. Probably not on this podcast.
Probably, I don't think we need to discuss it. I think I've just answered the question. It is no.
What? No. I don't know. There was a Buffy game that was quite fun.
I never played it or watched Buffy.
Ah, what?
I know.
It's unfortunate because I think the show got better as it got older, so I don't really like the earlier episodes. So doing the pilot on here wouldn't really be that great. But
It's on the list, so.
Is it? Okay, well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, but I think overall, I probably will watch more of Blindside Spot.
Oh really? Do you think because it's still going on?
Yeah, I feel like at some probably in the off season I'll catch up, and then aim to continue watching it if it stays good. If it keeps being interesting and gets rid of a lot of like the characters that I don't care about, which is all of them.
Apart from her.
Yeah, I feel like it would be more interesting to see her like make these discoveries just sort of on her own, with like outside help that changes from week to week. I feel like having like the core cast of helpful people is almost a hindrance to my enjoyment of the show.
So if it was more sort of, I feel like it shares a little bit with Jessica Jones, slightly in the way that she, does a lot of stuff on her own or with a couple, some ragtag mates.
Yeah, I feel like that would be, because then obviously she wouldn't be so locked to like New York. She could go all over, like all over the world, and like just meet new people in different countries, and that I feel like that would be more interesting than.
She wouldn't be tied to Kurt Weller either, because he's not that good.
I feel like he's important for probably the reveal of like who she actually is, but apart from that, I don't think he's integral at all to the story.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there.
Which is a shame. Like, I feel like it's a shame when the supporting cast are unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, really.
But I mean, the thing, what I'm trying not to say is that like the show is good, like it is good and it's enjoyable to watch. Yeah, I just feel like there are ways that I personally could enjoy it more if it got rid of some characters.
Yeah, it's it's not like it's not that gripping as which is a shame because I think mysteries need to be.
Yeah, I feel like there was enough in the pilot, to sort of get that interest hooked in, but I feel like maybe there wasn't, because it doesn't leave it on a cliffhanger. It doesn't leave it on a cliffhanger because there's sort of like almost an enclosed resolution of like, we solved a crime from one of her tattoos. Maybe this is something we can continue to do.
Maybe she can get hired by them.
Yeah, I feel like she gets more and more involved in like. Like, the reason they're keeping her in this one like is because she's going to get more involved, probably with Kurt, or maybe on a romantic level, which I hope isn't correct.
I really hope they don't do that.
Because I feel like with a lot of new pilots and shows and stuff, there's a lot of cliches that they use almost because shows have to tick some boxes for a specific genre. But I feel like some shows would benefit from just not. I don't think there needs to be a romance, like, because it's like a thriller, mystery, crime, drama thing. I feel like there's cliches from all of those that are used, and I think some of them just probably aren't necessary to be in specifically this show. I feel like there's some that they could ignore, like romance. I think in this, I feel like she might be looking for that as like a way to sort of set herself up as like a functioning person again. But I feel like Kurt's the wrong choice because he's a dick.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. I think that was a very fair analysis.
And the thing, I feel like those cliches don't detract from the show. I feel like they are just.
It's just a shame they're there.
Yeah, like it's because there is a different. Maybe some of the things they're using are more tropes than cliches. Because while they're very similar, I think tropes is a more it's more acceptable to use a trope than a cliche.
Like conventions.
Yeah. I feel like for it to be a mystery, there needs to be an unknown, which is the tattoos. To be a crime, there needs to be some crimes, which they're led to by the tattoos. But then I think maybe one of the cliches they're using is from drama. There needs to be romance.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not necessary.
Yeah. Because I think
Course,
yeah, the drama.
We don't know that's.
Yeah,
The way it's gonna
I
go.
guess like the problem like with like Prison Break, I have the knowledge of watching the rest of the show to know where it goes.
Yeah.
So it's quite weird for me because a lot of the a lot of the things we've done so far, I've watched before. So it's quite weird to go in like sort of not knowing where it's going to go.
Yeah, it's good, but then it's refreshing because I suppose.
Because I suppose taking a stab at where it might go is.
Yeah, with the potential of it, with the speculation, is fun, but then just seeing how wrong or right you were.
Yeah.
That's like we do that with the Marvel movies quite a lot,
Yeah, I'm interested to see how what might happen with Phase 3, how that pans out. Because so far it's looking like we are on track to be somewhat right. Because I went back and I found it, and it was just like all of it hinged on like Spider-Man being in it, and he's going to be in it now. So Civil War's looking on track to be correct. This will probably come out after Civil War, so.
That's true. Do you want to? No, let's not. I was going to say what we think is going to happen, but nah, because then we'll be banged to rights.
Yeah, I think Bucky's going to die. That's my prediction. Because I feel like with Civil War, completely like so off topic, but I feel like with Civil War, they could kill Cap or Iron Man, but that either of those too predictable. I think it's going to be a secondary character. So one of the new Avengers, and I feel like the more interesting person to kill would be Bucky, because like this whole thing is caused by Cap protecting Bucky. I think it'd just be really cool to actually just kill him at the end, just be like, Cap, all that was for nothing.
My prediction would be that Tony and Steve are still not going to be friends by the end of it.
I think whoever dies, I think that's going to happen. And I think probably Cap will hang up his shield until Infinity War Part 2. And then he'll come back as Cap again. And Falcon, or if Bucky doesn't die, one of them will take up the role.
That wouldn't surprise me. But we digress from pilot episodes of mystery
so
and crime TV shows.
What's your conclusion from Blindspot?
I'm not sure I'm gonna go back to it because I like the conceit of it, but the actual execution, like as we said, I'm not a huge fan of the way it's developing at the minute. I feel like it's a shame that it had such a good idea, but
I feel like, do you feel like maybe it has too many elements to it? That it's just so almost messy. Like there's a lot of.
I don't know if it's. Yeah, I actually thinking about it, that probably is it. I think it could be a lot more tighter and.
Yeah, a little bit. It could do with being maybe a little bit more succinct and sort of almost to the point.
Well, I think that would come were there not so many characters. Not the fact that it's so many characters. Were it not the fact that the FBI are in it. Like, if it was just her on her own, I think that would be more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think either of us are saying that, like, she shouldn't work with these, like, the law enforcement and stuff. But I feel like it'd be more interesting to see her work with various elements of law enforcement. So she could work on, like, one thing that's maybe, like, I don't know, something like with maybe like the triads or one like some sort of criminal organization where she just works with like the NYPD or in a different city. I feel like this would be more interesting if all of her tattoos weren't bad shit going down in New York.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would make it feel more like, almost more sort of like 24, in that there's like one overarching like big bad thing that's going to happen, but lots of smaller things have to come together to make that big bad.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be more interesting to see, like, maybe not an international one, but like so she's got to like go across the US to like stop whatever big bad might be happening, to then like resolve it, but have to work with like lots of different groups of people. Yeah, I feel like for me that would be
agree.
that'd be more interesting.
We should totally be like TV executives with ideas like this.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably a reason we're not. Just because, like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna, like, your idea's good, but could you just change it completely so that we will enjoy it?
So yeah, Prison Break. Probably enjoyed it more than Blindspot. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna watch any more of them. Are you gonna watch? You're gonna carry on with Blindspot?
I think I will, yeah, because I'm curious enough to want to know where it goes.
Yeah.
So I'll give it maybe another, like, I'll try and get at least halfway through the season, I think, and then I'll decide.
Okay. Next time on the Co-Pilots podcast, what are we doing? We got Legends of Tomorrow and Agents of Shield.
Yeah.
If I'm
you are
not
not mistaken.
So we're doing DC versus Marvel.
Yeah.
I wonder which way that'll go.
If I'm honest, I'm not actually sure which one you'll like better. I know which one I like better.
Really?
But
okay. We'll keep your powder dry.
I know that's a story for another time.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we'll do that next time we do one of these Hero Damn Thing podcasts.
Yes, we will.
So I'll see you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.